What actually determines whether you're ready to retire beyond the money? Why does retirement still feel overwhelming and uncertain, no matter how much we save, how many questions we ask, or how much info we gather? How do we finally feel clear, certain, and confident, truly ready for retirement? In this video, I want to point you to the places that actually matter for your readiness, the ones that give you real confidence, not just more spreadsheets. Because here's where most people get stuck. Everyone preparing for retirement asks the same question: do I have enough money? But that's only 1/5 of the picture. True retirement readiness isn't just financial. It's 5 dimensions working together, and most people are only preparing for one. That's why so many midlife professionals feel this undercurrent of uneasiness they can't quite explain. They're doing everything right, but something still feels unfinished, fragile, or like it all depends on numbers that could change next year. It's not a personal failure. It's a missing framework. Today, I'm going to walk you through all 5 dimensions and show you how to finally understand where you actually stand. Not a guess or rule of thumb, a clear, honest picture of your readiness today. I'm Tanya Finks, not a financial advisor, just someone like you who's 5 to 10 years from retirement and determined to make the next chapter our strongest yet. After decades coaching people through major life and career transitions and years inside complex corporate systems, building structure and process where there wasn't any, I now apply that same lens to retirement because this season of life is too important to leave vague. So let's get into it. When many of us think about retirement, our biggest fear is that we're behind. You may have felt that yourself. But once you see what the real problem is, you'll understand why that low-grade uncertainty keeps showing up and what actually brings your sense of clarity back. The biggest challenge isn't being behind. It's not knowing where you actually stand. When you don't have a clear picture, everything feels shaky. Every retirement headline hits a little too close to home. Every calculator gives you a different answer. Every conversation with friends turns into quiet comparison. Do they have it more figured out than I do? Most people aren't stressed because they haven't saved. They're stressed because they don't know what ready actually means. And that uncertainty has a cost. The American Psychological Association reports that over 70% of Americans feel stressed about money at least some of the time. For many of us in midlife, that stress doesn't show up as panic. It shows up as that small knot in your stomach when you open a statement, avoiding conversations you know you probably should have, telling yourself, I'll figure this out later, and feeling low-key worried every time you say it. It's not drama, it's mental load. So let me make it clear, you're not behind. You've simply been operating without a whole life picture. And clarity, not perfection, is what actually changes everything. When we don't have that picture, we do what thoughtful, capable people tend to do. We reach for things that feel solid, numbers, benchmarks, rules, not because we're lazy, but because we're trying to reduce uncertainty. The problem is that most of those rules are looking at one slice of life and treating it like the whole. Since I'm working through these same questions myself, I wanted to understand what the research actually says to validate my own experience and cut through the noise. You've probably heard the familiar advice. If you want more detail on the common advice, I'll link a video where I covered it in a little more detail. But you may have heard you need 70 to 80% of your pre-retirement income, or to follow the 4% rule. We've inherited a retirement culture that treats money as the whole story. Here's the important thing to understand. These rules aren't wrong. They're just incomplete. Even AARP is clear that the 80% rule is a starting point, not a destination, because real retirement needs depend on your lifestyle, your health, your responsibility, and your other income sources. And the 4% rule came from research in the 1990s, testing worst-case market scenarios. It assumes a specific horizon, a specific investment mix, and relatively stable spending. In other words, it assumes a spreadsheet, not a human life. What all these rules have in common is this: they zoom all the way in on money and leave the rest of your life out of focus. Your values, your health, your relationships, your purpose, your daily rhythms, your flexibility. So even when you're doing everything right financially, some part of you still feels exposed. Let me know in the comments if this resonates for you. That's not intuition failing you, that's intuition working, because readiness isn't just a number. It's a whole picture, and most people never get to see the whole picture. So if money is only one slice of readiness, the real question becomes, what else actually matters? Once you see the 5 dimensions that shape true retirement readiness, you'll understand why that uneasiness has been there and what a complete, grounded picture really looks like. Most people only ever see one part of their retirement picture. Here's the whole view. True retirement readiness isn't one thing. It's 5 dimensions working together. Let's start with the first, financial readiness. This is what your real life actually costs and where the money comes from to fund it. Not what a calculator assumes, not what the average retiree spends. It's housing, healthcare, food, transportation, and the things that genuinely matter to you. AARP actually starts here. Step 1 is understanding what retirement will cost. Lifestyle comes first. Then you match resources to it, not the other way around. And those resources aren't just a 401k. While Social Security is the most common source of retirement income, more than 80% of retirees have at least one additional income source. That might include retirement accounts, a pension, rental income, part-time or freedom work, or other assets. Financial readiness means you understand what your desired life actually costs, where the money comes from, and what risks could change the equation over time. The second dimension is health and independence. This is your body's ability to support the life you're planning. Research consistently shows that regular physical activity helps older adults live independently, improves physical function, and reduces fall risk. Strength, mobility, and balance built in midlife are key predictors of independence later on. Translation: if you want to enjoy the retirement you're working for, you need to be healthy enough to live it. This dimension asks whether you're taking care of your body in ways that protect your future independence, not just appearance. For many of us, this shows up quietly. Days feel different. Long days hit harder. This isn't about shame. It's about giving your future self a body that can carry the life you're imagining. The third dimension is identity and purpose. This is who you'll be when your job title falls away. People with a strong sense of purpose tend to live longer and engage in healthier behaviors. Purpose isn't just emotional, it's protective. This dimension asks, what gives you a sense of contribution? Who are you beyond your career? And what you'd still do even if no one paid you. If you've ever wondered, what am I going to do all day? Or who will I be without this role? That question is coming from here. The fourth dimension is social and relational connection. This is who you're connected to and whether those connections truly sustain you. Long-term research shows that close relationships are the strongest predictors of long and happy lives, stronger than money, status, or intelligence. Social isolation is linked to higher risk of heart disease, depression, dementia, and premature death. This dimension asks who you want consistently in your life over the next 20 years, whether your relationships energize you or drain you, and whether your social world will still exist when work is no longer your daily structure. For many of us, work has quietly been our community. Part of readiness is making sure retirement doesn't become financially stable, but emotionally lonely. The fifth dimension is lifestyle and daily rhythm. This is what your days will actually look and feel like. Quality of life later in years is shaped less by one big decision and more by daily routines, movement, sleep, engagement, and structure. This dimension asks what a good day would look like if you woke up retired tomorrow. What rhythms give your life momentum, and what you genuinely look forward to on a Tuesday. Are you sleeping later and later each day because you've got no real reason to get up? Are you staying in to watch TV, or are you called out into the world on a regular basis? And you're starting to notice your days feel a little less intentional than you imagined. These 5 dimensions work together. When they're all visible, retirement doesn't feel like a leap into the unknown. It feels like a transition you're prepared for. When one or more is unclear, that's where uncertainty lives. That's where something inside you keeps whispering, we're not done yet. The good news is you don't have to have it all fixed at once. The first step is simply seeing your picture clearly. That's exactly what the Retirement Readiness Wheel helps you do. It's a simple tool that shows your readiness across all 5 dimensions. You answer 10 yes or no questions in each area, then your wheel is generated. And suddenly, you can see where you're strong, where things are underdeveloped, and where your life may be a little out of balance. This isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. because once you see the picture, you know where to focus instead of trying to fix everything at once. And if you're wondering, what if my wheel looks a little rough? What if there's no time to make adjustments? Let's talk about that. Here's the truth. Ages 50 to 65 are the last best window to shape your retirement. You still have time to adjust your savings rate, pay off debt, shift spending patterns, rethink your retirement timeline, build strength and mobility, explore purpose, deepen relationships, and consider your daily rhythms. Small course corrections in these years can dramatically change your readiness picture, but only if you know where you stand. So here's where I'd love for you to start. Download the Retirement Readiness Wheel. It's free, it's simple, and it walks you through all 50 questions across the 5 dimensions. You'll immediately get a visual snapshot of your readiness, not a grade, just clarity. You don't need to solve everything today. You just need to see the whole picture. Because the biggest mistake isn't being behind, it's not knowing where you stand. And now you have an easy, accessible way to find out. This video is part of the Prepare for Retirement Holistically series, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. As the picture starts to get clearer, there's probably another question starting to form. If this really is the window, and I'm doing all the things, why does it still feel unsettled? Why do these questions persist, even for highly capable high achievers? And should I be concerned? That's exactly what we unpack in the next video. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching, Posse. And remember, the best chapter of your life is the one you build now.